Hey everybody, we're going to show you just one more little chunk of some things we're going to be working on here, and that is something that I think I showed you guys last time. Now, previously we made this light over here that turns on whenever we step onto it, but it doesn't turn off. And I believe I may have showed some of you this light here that turns on and turns off when you step off the plate. Now that's the one we're going to learn about today, and then this is going to get built on even further here in just a little bit, but let's just tackle this first one real quick. Okay, so first of all, what we want to do is just keep our lives really simple here. And if you'll look down at the bottom here, I've already made these two right here. This is called button platform 2 state. That means it's on or off. Okay, you could call it something different if you'd like, but in this case it's a Boolean. We could call it a Boolean light possibly, but since I don't really want to have to make all this stuff again, what I want to do is I'm going to duplicate my plate that's already been made. I'm going to call this BP underscore platform. It's a button platform, yeah, button platform. And since I've already got one called BP platform, I'm going to call this one 2 state and put that up at the front. Let me go in here. I'm going to make this one put out, I guess, red light. So I think I'm going to make sure that when I go in here, that the button is kind of a reddish color, or let's see, maybe we'll do orange or something like that, but just something to kind of set it apart. So we'll go into the first cylinder, which is our, let's see, that looks like it's our outside shell for the button. And this looks like it's the inside piece for the button. Currently it's green. And I'm going to look here for, oh, purple. That looks good. Let's do purple. We'll do a purple light. That sounds like fun. I'm sure Z will dig that. And we'll go in and check our event graph. Not really a whole lot to change here. We can even keep our same event dispatcher here at this point. And as far as cast to FP simple character, hopefully that's already set up for you guys. So everything here looks pretty good so far. See, it already changed into a purple light. And the next thing we want to do is go into our light, the button plate light, and we're going to make a copy of that one because we don't want to have to just make a whole new thing altogether. So BP underscore 2 state button light. There we go. And since the other one is kind of a lasery green, let's go ahead and jump into that one and change a few things on that. The light fixture itself is green. Let's change it to purple if we can. We won't have a purple laser, unfortunately. I mean, it'd be really cool if we did, but we're going to just use that same purple color there. And for the spotlight, let's go in. Let's set that thing even higher. Let's go 200,000. And we'll go for a nice magenta look there. That looks good to me. I like it. All right, and a lot of the stuff is already built for us, so we're in pretty good shape as far as the event graph goes. A lot of what we have here is going to change just a little bit. We're going to add some pieces into this, but most of what we need is already here. All right, so I'm going to get rid of a lot of these things, so because we don't really need them. Not at this point anyway. So let's go back to our button platform. Now, if you look up at the top here, we have a couple tabs now. It's just our button platform and our 2 state button light. So what we're going to need at this point is we're going to have some information that we're going to send with our event dispatcher. Okay, so our event dispatcher here is called plate pressed. And we need to send over some information saying, hey, you know what? We're standing on this or we're not standing on this. Right now, we just send it. As soon as we're standing on it, we say, hey, we're on this thing. The problem is that right now this call plate press, this event dispatcher only just says, hey, yeah, you stood on it. So let me show you, for instance, what that does. We're going to go in here and we're going to do, actually, sorry, we want to get the sphere trigger. And we're going to do end overlap, because we want to finish with that. We want the person to step off the plate and for the light to turn off, right? And I'll show you another little trick here. If you highlight a node and you want to copy and paste all together, you can do Control W. Okay, Control W. Instead of doing Control C, Control V, just do Control W and that'll pop out a new one for you. And we'll bring this over here. And the problem is that right now, if I take this and I hook this up down here, it's sending the same thing. It's not saying like, oh, well, you know, he jumped off of it, so, you know, turn the light off. It's just saying, hey, we're on it, so go ahead and kick it off, you know. So I'll show you what that looks like. Oh, actually, we didn't set that up yet, did we? Got to remember to do it first. All right, so let's take our 2-button platform right here. Let's make sure everything's looking good. Looks like everything's okay. All right. I'm going to drag that out. And I want to pick it up a little bit. I'm just going to plant it with the N key. All right. And then I'm going to grab my light, pick that up. And right now, there we go. Now it's on. Off, on, off. It's responding to us, so that's good. And we also need to link up the button press that's going to go with it. So we'll use our little eyedropper tool just like we did before. And we'll go over here. Now, the thing is that we're actually looking at something different now. Okay, so our eyedropper tool is not going to work. So here's one of the first fixes we're going to have to make. We're going to go into the BP 2-state button light. And right here where we have our bind event to plate, the light doesn't know to look for the new thing, right? So we're going to go here to button pressed, and that's looking for the old BP button plate. Now it should be looking for a different one, so we have to type in BP underscore 2-state button plate, button platform, actually. So let's go to that one. It'll ask you, do you want to change everything in here? Just hit don't show this again, because usually when you're doing this, you don't want to change anything. You're going to see this pop up. We don't need to do anything else with this. Doesn't show us any errors or anything. We hit compile now. All right, so now we're going to get a little bit different setup because we've changed this. We're just going to drag out button pressed here, get the button pressed. We may be able to link this up. No, it's going to want us to remake the whole thing. So let me go ahead and redo that. Okay, bind to, and that one was, it was still button pressed, but let's check it real quick here. It is plate pressed. Okay. Bind event to plate pressed. Okay, there we go. We may be able to use the event, but we'll see. It may give us an issue. Okay, looks like we're in good shape. Now, this doesn't toggle anything, so I'm not expecting this to do anything other than what it did before, but we're all set up and we're already turned off. We're going to just use the eyedropper tool to go in here, select the platform, and at this point, we should have pretty much the same thing that we had across the way where the light turns on, but it doesn't turn off. Okay, we got everything synced up. Let me go ahead and move my player start over here so we don't have to go as far. It'll just go right in front of that plate with us. We don't have to do as much work. You know, that's what we're all about here as programmers. We just don't want to do as much work. All right, I'm going to pull it back a little bit. Okay, looks good. And let's see. Now we have to make the changes so this thing will actually, you know, do what we need it to do. Now I'm going to leave this light on so we can find it real easy. Since we have gone and copied this thing from our previous light, if I go into my light, the construction script will look at what we have as far as the visibility that's already set up. So as long as I go in and remember to turn this off, it should be in good shape before we actually launch it. But for now, I'm going to leave it on just so we can find everything. And let's go back over to our button plate. So most of the work we're going to do is going to be in our event graph. In the event graph, we are going to need an on and an off here, but we're going to need something that says, hey, he stepped off of the plate. Okay, our player's not on the plate anymore. So to do that, we're going to add in an input on our event dispatcher. So down here in the bottom left on our event dispatcher, click on plate pressed, and let's go up here to inputs. On inputs, we're going to hit the little plus icon here. It says new parameter. We're going to make that. And we do want a Boolean, so that's handy. Usually Boolean comes up if you've never made one before, or it just brings up whatever the last type of variable you made is. Whatever that was, that's what it'll use again. In this case, it's just this one right here. So let's call this light on. Okay. We'll hit compile. It'll give us an option for a few different things here as far as call plate press is going to give us a problem. because it's different now. You'll notice it says new param. It doesn't show light on. So we're going to have to remake call plate pressed. Okay. So I'm going to do call plate pressed. Okay. Now you can see light on is on there. Okay. And we'll just need the same thing over here on the other side. Okay, let me zoom out a little bit. We're going to use our new little trick of Control W, and we're going to drag this over here, hook it up, and in this case, light on is false. Okay, so this will turn it on, and then when we back off, it'll tell that call to send out this information of us stepping onto the plate and stepping off of the plate. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and hit compile. We're in good shape now. Now all the work we have to do is going to be on the light. Okay, so let's pop over to light, to the two-state button light. And this one has the same kind of construction script as the other lights we've made so far. Let's go over to our event graph. This is where the bulk of what we're going to be working on is going to change. Okay, so you can already see it's got a new parameter right here in the custom event. We're not going to be using that. And we have button pressed here. Let's see, we may be able to use this without any trouble. Let's go ahead and try this. We're going to pull off the custom event here. We're going to add custom event. Light, let's say two-state light. There we go. And we have our light on right there. And I'm going to connect this up. And let's see. We may just be able to go completely from that state of visibility right there. I think we're going to be okay. But now we've linked it up. We may have to do a little bit more work. Let's try and compile, and let's see how we're doing. Okay, so it's already on. Step on it. Turns off. All right, so it turns on while we're on it, turns off while we're off of it. Okay, so now we're starting to send information along with our dispatcher. Okay, and of course I messed that up a little bit and I left the light on, just like I said I wasn't going to do it. But now, okay, now it's off, now it's on. We look down. As soon as we step off of that platform, it turns off. Okay, just a little chunk there to kind of get us into a little bit more of what we can do with this, and we're going to add even more to this here in just a little bit. So y'all get this finished up, and this will be an over-the-shoulder observation kind of thing, and we'll move on to the next piece. All right, looking good, y'all, looking good.